Gormagat Cahiruk, and I want to spend some time, making a contribution in relation to this Health Service Executive Governance Bill. I suppose today we've spent quite a considerable period of time in this House discussing health issues. We had the nurses here earlier on, and we had the motion in relation to nurses' pay and conditions. And I suppose when you look at the fact that we have 1,700 plus fewer staff nurses than there was 10 years ago, I think it's all symptomatic of the difficulties that have arisen under the HSE. And while every day we have justified criticisms of aspects of work and lack of things being done, we must also state, and I want to put it clearly on the record here, there are quite good staff in the HSE. A lot of good work is done by the HSE. And it would be wrong to, paint everybody with a negative brush on the basis, I suppose, the system under which the HSE has operated hasn't been very successful, and I suppose it's more or less the system that is in the problem. But the board was abolished in 2012, and we're 6 years on from that. And to be quite honest, considering the difficulties, the problems we had, it's a long time, and it's a long time trying to in some way fix a problem. If we look at the Sláinte Health report, Sláinte Care report, it pointed out that good leadership and governance are critical functions of any health system. The committee strongly stated that there is a requirement for clearer clinical and managerial accountability and governance throughout the system. This includes clarity at all levels, from the Minister for Health, the Department of Health, HSE and healthcare providers. And I think everybody's interest, it must be to ensure that all of the work done on Sláinte Care, that we get that implemented as quickly as possible. We have problem after problem within the system. We have bizarre waiting lists that seem to get worse and worse. And I was just looking at some figures here this evening when I was doing a bit of research on this issue for tonight, where over 5,000 are on outpatient waiting lists in the CHO2 area. That's the counties of Roscommon, Mayo and Galway. 5,000. And this is bizarre, but in virtually every area of healthcare waiting lists are growing and growing. And there seems to be, if you look at UCH, if you take inpatient and outpatients, the waiting list recently were up on 50,000. That's a shocking indictment of any system. And it's not just the CHO2 area, it is all over the country. So we have to have change. And we have to bring that change around as quickly as possible. Because people are frustrated and people are annoyed out there. Now, Sláinte Care proposed that the HSE be reformed into a more strategic national centre with an independent board and fewer directorates. Recognising international evidence on the negative impact of system reorganisation or merger, Sláinte Care recommends that structural change should be as simple as possible and only what is needed to meet the requirements of integrated care. The HSE Strategic National Centre will be supported by regional care delivery through regional bodies, recognising the value of geographical alignment for population-based resource allocation and governance to enable integrated care. And that is vital that that change is made and brought forward as quickly as possible. Because, another indictment, and I just want to mention this at this stage, of the system is so many people, and this was mentioned today, so many people, nurses in particular, leaving this country, not able to work within the system. And again, we have to, mainly pressure and conditions, and again we have to acknowledge the outstanding commitment of frontline staff who deal with unbearable situations every day. Because you have to imagine when there's people waiting in queues a long time for assistance, for help, people complaining, people get into bad form, people in pain, and nurses and frontline staff have to deal with all that. And you can, as I said, look at right through the system and see this particular problem has got worse year after year. Now, an explicit recommendation of Sláinte Care is that independent board and chair should be appointed to the HSE at the earliest opportunity by the Minister for Health, following a selection process to the Public Appointment Service. Board membership should reflect the skills required to provide oversight and governance to the largest public service in the state. And of course, we have to remember that yes, in excess of 15 billion annually now goes into the health service, which is a lot of money. And the Health Service Director General will be accountable to the board. The bill is going to provide for the establishment of a 9-person board for the HSE, and the board will be the governing body for the HSE with authority to perform the HSE functions. The board will be accountable to the Minister for Health for the performance of its functions. And if I have heard one word used time and time again, Minister, over recent years, in my time as both a local councillor and since I joined Dáil Éireann here in 2016, it's accountability, accountability, accountability. And people will, we all know it, it comes up time and time again, they will talk about the lack of accountability within the system. So in conclusion, I want to just welcome the fact and throw our support behind this, as our party will do. As I said, the abolishment of the board was a mistake by the then Minister, Minister Riley, because it was abolished and was left there. As I said, we've moved on 6 years and there has been little, in actual fact, things have worsened over those 6 years, and it's well beyond time that we, as members of this House and the government, pursue this particular change, and in my view, make that change happen as quickly as possible, because we have enormous mountains to climb to improve that health service. And again, I stress in conclusion that I am in no way, making any derogatory reference to the many good people who work on our health service day and night, 24/7, and as I said, do a lot of good work within the health service. But we owe it to the staff and we owe it to the public to make the changes that are necessary, and that is why Fianna Fáil are supporting this bill.
Thank you, Deputy.